The Bus Ride That Changed History, The Story of Rosa Parks by Pamela Duncan Edwards, illustrated by Danny Shanahan. On February 4, 1913, a baby was born in Tuskegee, Alabama to Leona and James McCulley, a teacher and a carpenter. They named her Rosa and thought she was the most beautiful baby ever. What they didn't know was that one day, Rosa would do something so brave that it would change the course of American history. After a few years, Rosa's father moved away, so her mother took Rosa and her baby brother Sylvester to live on their grandparents' farm in Pine Level, Alabama. The children had fun helping around the farm, but by the time they started going to school, Rosa was well aware that black people were treated in an inferior way. Alabama was a Jim Crow state. Jim Crow laws and attitudes kept black people and white people separate and made it illegal or dangerous for black people to use the same facilities and services as white people. Black children had to go to different schools, and their parents often had to build those schools themselves. Black children were not allowed to ride a school bus with white children. In towns that did not have a bus for them, black children would have to walk to and from school. Jim Crow affected everyone, young and old. There were 11 white men who dressed in long robes with hoods to hide their faces. They were the Ku Klux Klan, and they wrote about terrorizing black people and sometimes even killing them. Rosa lived in dread of the Klan arriving at her grandfather's farm. This never happened, but it was a scary way for a little girl to grow up. When she was 19, Rosa married Raymond Parks. They lived in Montgomery, Alabama, where Rosa enjoyed setting up a home and finding a job. However, she never accepted the unjust laws against black people, and she joined lots of organizations that worked to make things better. Then, on December 1st, 1955, she took a huge step toward getting one of these laws overturned. Rosa refused to stand up on a bus so that a white passenger could sit down.
This is a law forbidding black people to sit next to white people on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
That's just one of the segregation laws that keep black people and white people separate.
Black people have to drink at separate water fountains.
They have to sit on separate park benches.
This is a bus in Montgomery, Alabama, where they enforced a law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
Black people pay fares at the front. Then they have to get off and go to the back to get on again.
Sometimes drivers let them pay and then drive off without them.
Why make it so difficult for black people? Shouldn't they be treated the same as white passengers?
The first 10 rows are for whites. Black people have to sit in the back rows.
The black section is filling up. What happens if the white section fills up?
Then black people have to give up their seats.
These are the black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced the law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
This is the white man left standing near the seats of the black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced their law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
This looks like a problem. All the seats have been taken.
The driver will make those 4 black people move for the white passengers.
This is the driver who told them to move for the white man left standing near the seats of black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced a law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
That driver's a bully.
But he's got the law on his side.
Then the law needs to be changed.
Three of the black people are moving. They don't want any trouble.
Look, that woman is refusing to get up. That's so brave.
The driver says he'll call the police.
Did you hear her? She said you may do that.
This is Rosa Parks, who said no to the driver who told her to move for the white man left standing near the seats of black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced a law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
This is the verdict of guilty at the trial of Rosa Parks, who said no to the driver who told her to move for the white man left standing near the seats of the black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced a law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
The judge fined her $10 with $4 court costs, and she earns only $23 a week.
It's so strange. Her lawyers Fred Gray and Charles Langford didn't try to defend her.
That's because they wanted her to be found guilty so that they could appeal to the Supreme Court.
Of course, only the Supreme Court can overturn a segregation law.
This is the boycott triggered by the verdict at the trial of Rosa Parks, who said no to the driver who told her to move for the white man left standing near the seats of black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced a law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is leading the bus boycott. He says we are all tired of being segregated and humiliated.
Black people are walking everywhere. They are determined to change the way they live.
This is the Supreme Court ruling that declared Alabama's race law to be illegal following the boycott triggered by the verdict at the trial of Rosa Parks, who said no to the driver who told her to move the white man left standing near the seats of the black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced a law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
For a whole year, black people held out and didn't use the buses.
The bus company lost so much money that it had to stop running.
This is the civil rights movement, which grew in strength after the Supreme Court ruling that declared Alabama's race laws to be illegal, following the boycott triggered by the verdict at the trial of Rosa Parks, who said no to the driver who told her to move for the white man left standing near the seats of black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced the law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
Black and white people are marching everywhere in the country, demanding equality for all races.
Dr. King and other leaders are calling for an end to all types of racial segregation.
Now that the movement has started, nothing can stop it.
This is our country, which learned that all races are equal because of the civil rights movement, which grew in strength after the Supreme Court ruling that declared Alabama's laws to be illegal, following the boycott triggered by the verdict at the trial of Rosa Parks, who said no to the driver who told her to move for the white man left standing near the seats of black passengers riding the bus in Montgomery, where they enforced a law forbidding blacks to sit next to whites on buses, which was overturned because one woman was brave.
Author's note: Rosa Parks was honored many times for her brave act. The Montgomery Street where she sat down on the bus and refused to move is now named Rosa Parks Boulevard. She was given honorary degrees by universities and a school in Detroit named for her. In 1996, she was presented with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. 3 years later, the United States Congress decided that she also deserved the Congress Medal of Freedom. This is the highest honor that Congress can give. Sometimes it just takes one person to be brave.